My name is John Paul Sanchez Moreno. Welcome to STEMI Intern Interviews. I'm a digital media specialist for the STEMI Youth Career Development Program.
Hey, hello everyone. My name is Athul. I'm a digital graphics member for the STEMI team, and I'm also a team lead and creator for the Twitter team.
Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, where do you come from?
Right now, I'm from Canada, Ontario.
Okay, and where does your family come from?
My family comes from India, and specifically, we come from a small village or in the state called Kerala.
That's interesting. What grade are you currently in?
Currently, I'm in grade 12.
Okay, so you're finishing up school.
Yep.
All right. So what do you do for fun?
All right. So for what I do for fun, I love playing sports. The main sports, of course, I play soccer and basketball a lot with my friends, but the two sports I mainly focus on are wrestling and football. And for other things I do for fun, I love playing video games, but in the recent years, that's translated more into coding and programming. And that's certainly something that's fascinated me. So I'm looking forward to pursuing that for my post-secondary education.
Wow, that sounds very interesting. How long have you done coding?
Coding and programming is something I picked up mainly during the peak of COVID, just because I didn't really have too much to do. And ever since then, so I'd say about 2 years, I've slowly gained just very little beginner experience. And I'm just trying to get more familiar with different platforms and different types of coding and programming.
Okay. And do you remember how you got into sports?
Yeah, I've always played sports as a kid, soccer, basketball, everyone plays that at recess. But as a kid, I did judo, which is like a martial art, and I've done that since I think the age 10, 9 or 10. And as of recently, a lot of my high school has had wrestling, so I joined for that. And something, contact sports are something I'm pretty interested in. And football is also the main sport I love watching, so that's also why I play football a lot.
Okay, that sounds fun. So what motivates you to do what you do?
Well, for me, at least in my life, what really motivates me are my goals. And although it seems pretty cliche, my goals are kind of, every day what drives me to be the person I am. And the reason, I keep working really hard on my studies and all my extracurriculars is because of my goals, just things I want to do in the future. More specifically, like I've mentioned before, I do want a post-secondary education in a computer science mathematics field. And I know that isn't easy. So every day, thinking that I want to get there, I know I have to work hard, and that's really what motivates me there. And I'll have to be honest, sometimes the motivation isn't always there. It isn't easy to always be motivated. And I think that's where discipline comes in. But for the most part, thinking I have a lot of my goals written down, and I think that really helps me kind of have a vision, and it really motivates me to work as hard as I do.
Oh yeah, for sure. Discipline is an important part of doing what uh, accomplishing your goals.
Certainly.
So, what's your favorite subject in school?
All right, as nerdy as it's gonna seem, it's definitely math. And let me explain on that. The reason I kind of really like math is, although a lot of people may not like it or find it difficult, I myself personally, as a younger kid, found it pretty difficult. Kind of learning and getting to solve really complex math problems, at least in my opinion, is just really satisfying and gratifying. Being able to solve, things that you think, oh, I could never do this, and then actually taking the time to struggle and learn with a problem, that to me at least is something I found really fascinating, especially in my middle school and high school years. So I've kind of slowly come to love the subject math too. And I also kind of hate speaking, which is why I wouldn't pick English.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree with you there. I love the puzzle solving element. Like the more you learn about math, the more puzzles you can solve.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you kind of touched on this with coding, but what do you wish to do in the future?
Right. So to kind of elaborate on that, obviously, like I said, my post secondary kind of my next step is to take a degree in computer science. But if I be completely honest, I'm not 100% sure where or kind of what job I see myself for the future, and just kind of seeing where life will take me. Because at the end of the day, what I really want is to have a job or something that I really like, I'm passionate about doing. And as of right now, it's not really clear to me what specific jobs there are, but I feel like as the longer I go on and the more I kind of get myself in depth with the field of like computer science and coding, I feel like somewhere down the line, I'm sure I'll figure out what specifically I'd want to do.
Yeah. Okay. So, where would you like to live in the future?
Ooh, okay. So where would I like to live? That's a really good question because I mean, for work purposes, I'd probably move to America. But if you'd ask me where I'd like to live, I definitely say Germany or Switzerland or France because all three of those countries are just absolutely beautiful. And I've been briefly to all three, and I just really love like the atmosphere and kind of the culture of those cities. It's not something I'd see where I live, and going there just really was really eye-opening, and I definitely would love to live there, even if it's just for a short amount of time.
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. I love traveling too. It's great to get out of your comfort zone a little bit.
For sure.
So, do you have a dream school?
Matter of fact, actually, yes, I do. So since I'm from like Ontario, or the top school, I guess, in my area, at least for the degree I'm looking for, is the University of Waterloo. So yeah, because I'm not really planning much to apply to the more US schools. But for me, this school, Waterloo, it's a fantastic school. It has a great reputation for having fantastic co-op programs, which is kind of like the work portion while you can learn. So I think that found out that's a really good option for me because I do want some work experience while in university. So of course I really would love to go there because it's probably the best option for me. And but obviously that in itself would take a lot of work, but I want to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So, in general, what does success mean to you?
Um, well, I mean, it's sort of subjective, but success to me, at least on in like a shorter scale, is kind of being able to achieve something without really giving up. Because to me, the only way I really see yourself failing is really giving up. So, the way I want to succeed at a goal is by just relentlessly pursuing it until I achieve it. You know, if I make a mistake, that's fine. You know, get up, fix it, and just keep going. So success is for me is, you know, keeping your head up and really chasing a goal and eventually achieving it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Like, some people might view failure as like bad, but we grow from failure, right?
Of course, yeah.
So, getting back up, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with you.
Yeah, definitely me personally too. Like as a kid, I'm always feeling this, oh, you know, you didn't get 100 on your math test or your this test, you know, that's not good. And I kind of get scared of making mistakes. I think like that's like a mindset recently I had to get myself out of because making mistakes in the long term, it's never gonna harm you if you learn from it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. If you get 100 on a math quiz, then you don't know what you can improve on.
Of course, yeah.
So, what are you proud of currently?
Um, well, of course, there's like a lot of different achievements I'm proud of, you know, whether it be like academics or extracurriculars. But if you want to kind of get into more of myself, I'm kind of like just proud of like, I guess my work ethic and creativity, mainly because those are like two things I've kind of improved on in the last few years. Definitely for my creativity, I always like finding, you know, like newer ways to solve problems. I'm not like really like a follow the instructions type of person. So it doesn't matter whether it be an academic or an actual life situation, you know, I always try and take my time and see if there's always a better like solution, a better idea, something that really isn't traditional. So I kind of pride myself on being a pretty creative person. And for work ethic, it's something I've kind of struggled with a lot in the earlier portions of high school because, you know, I've been quite a lazy person. But as of recently, I'm really proud of how I've been able to bring up my work ethic, mainly by creating a schedule. And it's a fair schedule. So I'm able to actually be honest and kind of adhere to that schedule. And that, as a result, is brought up my work ethic.
Okay, that's very interesting. So, what would you say are your strengths?
Oh yeah, so to kind of add on to that last question, I'd say my main two are like I'm very driven, resilient, and driven in the sense that whenever I have a goal or something that I genuinely want for myself, I'm very passionate and always will probably do whatever I can to get that goal. And I'm also resilient in the sense that I kind of have like this never give up mentality as of recently because you know it's sometimes I've struggled a lot with certain goals and I kind of after a while get in the mindset, you know, maybe I can't do this or I'm not cut out for it. But you know, I feel like having the idea where you never give up and always keep trying to improve, eventually I'm sure anyone can reach a goal if they really try enough. So that's two things I think are my strengths.
Yeah. Okay. So now that we know more about you, let's talk about STEMI. So you said your roles, but let's expand on those a little bit. So, what do you do for STEMI, and how long have you been doing that?
Sure. So I guess to kind of start off first with how long I've been doing it, it's been roughly 4 months. I started about right in the beginning of summer, which is June, and now it's November. So 4 months. And for what I do specifically for STEMI, one of my roles was currently a team lead and a creator for Twitter, or Twitter the media. And what I do in the Twitter team is, firstly, for our meetings, I help manage and with the other team leads manage and set up these meetings, make sure everyone's accountable doing their work. And as a creator, every Mondays, and maybe even anytime during the week, I make different posts kind of promoting STEM education and STEM-E, which really is what STEM-E is about, education for STEM for the youth. And for the digital graphics team, I found this team really interesting because it's extremely flexible in the sense that if you love art, I trust me, there's something you can do in STEM-E. It could be anything, but as long as you have that passion for art, I'm sure you can draw something for STEMI. And what I do is I like making infographics and icon sketches. That's kind of something I really like doing. And that's kind of what I've been doing for the past few months for STEMI. I've made a few logos and a couple of infographics for the digital graphics team.
Sounds very interesting. So, do you remember how you found out about STEMI?
Yeah, actually, like many other people, I was trying to find some really good volunteer opportunities and just in general more ways I can be more involved with different organizations. And it was through online, through a website. I found about STEMI, and the reason I actually joined was I found it pretty unique because it stood out to me mainly in the sense that this club was flexible and it was run a lot by students, which I found really fascinating. And I think because it's run by students, it makes it a lot easier for students to connect to other students and teach other younger adults about STEM education.
Yeah, for sure. So, what's your favorite thing about STEMI?
There's a few different things, but if I had to pick, I'd definitely say the community. And STEMI, even from when I joined to right now, throughout the whole way, it's a really tight-knit, comfortable community, just with people who are ready and willing to work. And the one thing that really made me stick with STEMI is the fact that it's not just something you just join and let go to the side. People actually hold you accountable, and I feel like that makes me really enjoy working for STEMI because it feels like what my work does has actual value. I feel like I'm actually contributing, which is kind of one of the things I love the most about STEMI.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. So, would you recommend STEMI for people interested in digital media, Twitter, stuff like that?
Definitely, and there's many reasons for it. Firstly, if you're in need of volunteer hours, this is just a great way to do something good for community and also get your volunteer hours. But apart from that, it's fantastic experience, especially if you're someone who loves art and digital graphics or just creating media and wants to support a good cause. So if you're looking for any way to kind of diversify your art portfolio, it's definitely a great way to join. And for the Twitter side, if you're interested in being more of a media manager, it's going to be very useful for you in the future, especially if you're a student.
Yeah, for sure. That experience is everything that it's
Mhm.
worth at this age. All right. Well, thank you for your time, and I appreciate it.
All right, no problem. Thank you for having me, actually. It was my pleasure.